Dearest, gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighbourhood-friendly Kiwi Tash from Middle-earth, New Zealand, and Patty changing her intro yet again.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her New Moon era.
No, New Moon was depressing.
Today is the New Moon.
There was whole sections of that book that I had to skip because I delved so deep into the emotions that I was depressed for entire chapters
New Moon was
of
hard.
that book.
New Moon was hard. But that's not what I'm talking about. Today's New Moon is like because it's Capricorn and Capricorn stands on business.
But you put capitals, which makes it the book, not a new
Oh my
moon.
Goodness. Today's the new moon, people.
Excuse me, Mrs. Words Matter. Grammar matters too.
I like it. I like how it looks with capital letters.
Settle down. I will not settle down. Don't you tell me to settle down.
Fine. I'm changing it again. Go on.
Settle down onto your favorite settee as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious grammar, words, and ladies, lords, and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and deep diving into the connections of our favorite characters. We cover both book, TV series, and notable, I was like, what am I doing? And notable social media, and therefore will contain spoilers.
Duh. Lots of them. Dearest listeners, so Lady Patty overestimated what we'd get through last time. So this kind of is a continuation. We'll be analyzing the various tete-a-tetes of the churchyard after the reading of the band. Portia finally teaching by example, Lady D increasing Violet's trepidations regarding the Queen and Francesca, and Cressida beseeching a friend's aid and being her very most vulnerable.
I actually hate Eloise for this whole interaction.
Actually, I have a lot of thoughts about this interaction in regards to Eloise. I think this was her come to Jesus moment in regards to Penn. I think this conversation is why Penelope is back together.
Yes. All right. So before we get onto that whole situation, let's talk about the ultimate cockblock, which is Lady Keswick.
Well, first of all, we got to do pod snacks and we got to do Bridgerton news because there's been a lot.
I'm just diving right in today.
Yeah, you are. You're like, let's go.
Deep dive.
It's annoying me. So, pod snack.
Pod snackity snack.
I know you ate an egg Sammy. I watched you it.
It wasn't an egg Sammy. It was a scrambled egg pita bread.
Oh,
pita pumpkin
good.
eater.
I almost made scrambled egg tacos today, but I didn't. I got to talking on the phone.
A scrambled egg pita is basically a soft shell taco.
Yes. I made, and it's funny because I started listening to the church podcast today for quality and assurance and heard that I had made my Italian cannellini bean soup when we recorded that one. But this week I made a zuppa toscana like you get at Olive Garden, only I substituted the potatoes for cannellini beans and it's fantastic. It is so good. So good. And I made it yesterday, but I had a bowl of it today and it was even better the second day. So yum.
Well, it's like a lasagna. It's always best the next day.
And I think a lot of soups are just like that too. They need time for the seasonings to marry and stuff.
Well, and depending on what herb you put in, if you put in any at all, they also need time for the starches to kind of like spread through the soup and get it to the right consistency.
It was the beans. That's all well, I had carrots in there because I did, carrot, onion, celery to start with.
Carrots have beans have starches in them, don't they?
Yeah, they're a start. So I had that earlier. That was my first meal of the day that I didn't eat until 2:30. But my snacks for podcasting are hint of lime chips with some queso and my feta stuffed olives that were on sale. And I was like, I haven't had those.
Very Greek of you.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of olives, but I like these for some reason with the feta and it gives me good fat. So.
I think the olives will cut through, like the acidity of the olives will cut through like the, not greasiness of the feta, but like they complement each other well because they
do.
Balanced.
I do like the stuffed
Green eggs
olives
and
that
ham.
are garlic, the garlic ones. I do not like the pimento ones, and I do not like black olives at all.
I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam. I am. I do not like olives at all. No, no, not at all.
Even when I'm 10 feet tall.
That's twice my height. Nearly. No, I'm not a olives girl at all. Do not rate them one little bit.
I hated
Okay.
olives most of my life, but for some reason now I can do a green olive if it's stuffed with something good.
And you know what? I love salty things. Cannot handle an olive. Cannot. Any news for the week? Okay, so we got.
Oh, a crap ton of news.
I know. I was just like barreling into this episode, and I'm like, wait. We actually have a lot to cover. We need to keep it spoiler free though for everyone.
Like what? If
Like what?
anybody's watched the interviews, there have been so many interviews because we had the red carpet
No,
premiere
I just
event
mean
in
like
Paris.
obviously not talking about anything that happened in episode 1. So there
No,
will be no
We already
spoilers
did our
from
recap.
yeah.
We already did our recap. We're not doing that. But I will be recording our reaction video, you and I watching it, and that's gonna be up on YouTube.
I do see that we just got new. I don't know what they're called. Intro character summary for the season.
Yeah, introduction video, little things.
We got a new one from Adjua Endo from Lady D herself, and that I will not talk about what's in it because I do feel like it's a major spoiler for her season, for
this season
storyline this season. But I really enjoyed it, and I think it had a lot of information in it that is quite interesting.
Yes,
and I think she's going to go through her season of change this.
Yeah. And we also had Eloise and Benedict. We finally got the
Eloise
Penelope
and Penelope.
one.
Yeah, Penelope.
We got an Eloise and Penelope. And I just want to say, because we know from the premiere event that seasons 5 and 6 are going to be Eloise and Francesca because Jess Brownell wore the
EF
pocket square.
Yeah.
And it had the EF, but they're pretending like they're not telling us who is season 5. And I do think it's Eloise because
I think it's Eloise
in the intro videos, Francesca, her arc is about trying to start a family and that's it. Whereas Eloise's is trying to be on the shelf and her mother won't let her. But the whistle down in her intro, which I can't repeat it because I didn't write down exactly what she said. But if you listen to the whistle down response to her in Eloise's solo intro video, I think that tells us she's season 5.
Yes, I thought as well. But so many of these intro videos, I'm kind of surprised that they've released them because it had so much information that goes along with episode 1 that I'm quite
because they released episode 1.
But it's not released. Like there's nowhere on the internet. I mean, it is. Like people
allowed
it.
millions of people.
I'm actually curious
how many
people
having so much trouble.
Or how many people actually got to see it.
Yeah. That's why we were having so many issues because they like let everybody who RSVP'd, I think, got in. You know what I'm saying?
No, not true. Lots of people did not. Anyone who was on Firefox did not get in at.
No. I mean, if you went to the site and you RSVP'd, they said you're in. You didn't get in on the day because of system issues. But everyone who went to the site to sign up, it said you're in.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they underestimated their abilities.
Yeah, they did not. They did not allow. And so the sad thing is they didn't. I believe that they should have done a limited time where you could go in and get like a one-time code or watch the episode once or whatever. Because like I said to Stephen, I'm like, you couldn't pause, you couldn't go back. Like you watched it live and it was done. Like there was no going back, no reversing. It was just you saw it or you didn't. But you
had to watch it on your computer. Like I don't have the best display lighting on my computer as I do on my, you know what I'm saying? Like there's things I couldn't see.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm not complaining. I got to see it. So
because I know Mally was saying that she had like set up from her computer to her TV, and that was a really smart way of doing it. But because we had,
you can HDMI it, but we did the watch party, so I didn't do that.
Yeah, because we did the watch party. I just thought it was just I had too many things up in the air to be able to handle. And obviously when we do it by our phones, it's just the quality is just not great. So because of the Zoom parties, it wasn't doable. But I think when I have Di here, I will have to sort out something else, some other situation for watching it?
Well, I'm just gonna, when we do watch parties, I'm just going to do the Zoom on my phone like I did. And, but I mean, I'll be by myself because Kay's not gonna watch it until the second half drops.
Bouquet.
Yeah, because dude said let's wait and binge it all.
I'm sorry. If Steven said that to me, I'm like, F you very, very much.
Very, very much.
This is my bloody thing. You can F off. Thank you very much. Some things are mine, and he doesn't even try to interfere.
You're not like, changing my timetable.
He has said that he does want to finish all of season ones and twos. Are you going ones or twos? He wants to finish season 1 and 2 with me because obviously he's home this week with his surgery post-op. So hopefully we can actually power through season 1. But the problem is, I think we're up to episode 4 or 5, and I don't know if I'm ready to sit there and get through this while he's post-op. Oh.
Right. So some other news is we've had a lot of interviews, and so some things I've gleaned from interviews is Luke Newton just says Colin is in his honeymoon era, and he described Colin and Penelope as that couple that just endlessly are in love with each other, and they're ridiculously sweet with each other. Yeah, they're that, they're always affectionate, and it just to the point where it makes you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it funny that they were talking about if they had a gossip sheet for the show, and they were like, ooh, we could have made money on that. And Claudia goes, well, I mean, there is kind of a bad thing about gossip or whatever, but when you know the person, it's like, and she pointed at Luke, mind you, and said, they hooked up with who? I was like, wow, telling. And then I saw an interview with Young Entertainment with Florence and Will, because they're officially doing real stuff because they're old enough now.
Was it the interview with Claudia Jessie?
No, it was the two of them it was over a Zoom interview.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Young Entertainment.
That one cut out for me.
But I find it telling, like, yes, we don't know if season 7 or 8 are going to be picked up, but Bridgerton is so huge. Like, at this point, it wouldn't make sense for Netflix not to do them. And Shondaland said they're going to get done.
Not Chris Van Dusen. Tom Verica. Thank you. Tom Verica also has said that spin-offs are in talks at least, and that if we do get spin-offs, it will be of characters that we have already seen. Patty and I love. Patty and I personally of the belief that it can go one or two ways. It's either going to be Lady D or Violet.
Shonda said she wants to do a Violet story.
Yes.
But I agree. I don't remember what TikToker I saw said this, but we've already said it on the podcast too. If Violet gets her own story as a side story, it's going to be a lead up to Francesca's season because their story is very similar in the second chance love thing.
Where we left off with Queen Charlotte, right? I would say that Violet would have been 14 to 15 years of age in that, right? She got married. She was really young. She was like 18
Edmund was 19 in the book.
I think she was 17 or 18 when she got married to Edmund, which means that where it will leave off and jump back in is with like a 2-3 year time jump, right? So this could also include Lady Danbury and her storyline as well. They could do 2 in 1 because Lady Danbury is going to be around.
Well, and I think
be at all the same events.
We know from the extra stills we got later in the week that Lady Danbury presents Alice to the Queen at the palace, I think at the palace. So I'm still of a mind that Alice is her daughter, and that would play into her season.
I want to talk spoilers so badly. It's killing me.
We say we contain spoilers.
I know, but not season 4 spoilers, because that's not everyone got the opportunity to watch that live. And it's not like they could have gone back and watched it at whatever time was appropriate for them. Like, it was either you saw it or you didn't. Right. So, like, I will respect, even though it hurts my soul.
We're trying. But yeah, so going back to Florence and Will, I found it interesting. Like, we pretty much know Bridgerton is a phenomenon and they're going to, milk that cash cow until it runs dry. So we have these two stories. And Florence was talking about how the only Bridgerton book she's read is Hyacinth's, and she's read it twice and she loves it so much. But I noticed her wording. I noticed her wording, the way she said, we're not sure if we'll get to tell those stories, not in a way of like, are those seasons going to air? But I think there is a question about whether if they Florence will be and old Will enough. Can play the leads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they are technically old enough.
I think they're Florence, both over 18. Yes, will
but I think the world watch them grow up, and it's gonna be hard.
Yes. As Claudia Jessie said in her interview with them on the red carpet before the season 4 premiere, she said, we've, known them since they were 11, 12 years old. She's like, I've watched them grow up from being babies. And she's like, I love them so much. They're my little siblings. Like, she's like, everything they do, like, I'm so proud of them. Like, she is their mama bear on set, which I think is really, really, really cute. And then she's like, oh, their actual parents are so lovely. And, she's like, if I was their mum, I would have been like so proud. Like, I've smashed this thing to have children come out like the way that these two have. And I'm like, oh, Claudia, you're so sweet.
Speaking of speaking sweet, in the interview with Hannah, Claudia, and Luke.
Congratulations to Hannah Dodd on getting engaged.
Yeah. The interview with Hannah, Claudia, and Luke, where the person asked them, what is something you really like about the person to your left, like what they bring to their character, whatever. Yeah. And Luke was so glowing about so Claudia and Jessie. Like, Claudia was about to cry.
I feel like Claudia is an absolute crier, though. Like,
she's an absolute crier. She said I love her. She has said she's a crier.
She's so funny, though. I love her.
She and I would be friends. Yeah, for sure.
Like, I can't.
Sarcastic humor and cry at the drop of a hat. That's us.
I cannot wait to get back to the Eloise that I love, because I don't like being mad at her. Okay, it hurts me.
No, not at all.
So please stop being a prat.
Yeah, Eloise.
Oh, I had something else. They absolutely know what they're doing, putting Claudia in all of these floral-based prints, and the fact that the Pandora collection, someone's like, oh, all these bows are very Daphne coded. Excuse me, what? Who has been wearing blue bows for the last 4 seasons straight?
Francesca wears bows too.
I know, but blue
Francesca's
bows
are on her dresses. Claudia's are normally around her neck.
Yes, but blue bows,
both wear them in their hair.
Blue bows I very much associate with being Eloise.
Eloise, yeah.
So for me personally, I think that it makes sense that it is Eloise, because they made that Pandora collection very, very Eloise coded to me.
Well, and she had all the flower rings on at the premiere and that flower pantsuit. But then the next day, Adjua wore the same flower pantsuit to another event, like interview.
Yes.
Which I find that funny. But I think that's because everybody's like, Eloise is season 5. Look at Claudia's outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I do think that she is. All right, are we done with our news? Because man, these new segments, because we're getting so close to season 4, the new segments, I think the last one was 30 minutes long. I was like, that was half our episode. It's just new segments.
It's giving me material. Since we're trying to rush, it's giving me YouTube material.
Fantastic. Okay. Everyone outside of the church.
Get out of the church. Get out.
This church is on fire. Like, come on. It's Pollen's first dance. Give them space, people. All right. So everyone at this point is congregating outside of the church. I know I was doing timestamps for a while, but I'm not that organized, people. We can see Lord Anderson is clearly in search of Violet. Like, he already got cockblocked the whole church. Like, he's like, where's my girl? I need to be near her. I very much believe that they have actually slept together at this point. They have changed that timeline by omitting that scene, but in my headcanon, they've already done the deed. Which is when Lady D calls him over with a huge smile. Even he looks taken aback, like, why is my sister happy to see me?
No, he starts walking towards Violet and she steps in his way.
Yes. But like
nerp.
But she like calls out to him and has a huge smile. And I'm like, this is unnerving. Why are you smiling like that, girl? What? Why
And
are
I
you
just
so
want to
happy?
point out the costuming in this season with her up against her brother,
Yeah.
made me go back in time and look at, because in seasons 1 and 2, she didn't really wear the top hats as much as she did in season 3. And
yeah,
she very much is exerting dominance. She's trying to appear masculine, and we see that more in season 3 because her brother is quote unquote the Lord, of the manor, whatever. He got their title, whatever it was. And, she wants to remind him that she's older and he's not going to tell her what to do.
I actually think that's going to be a big part of her season 4 arc, is going to be to do with that. And I think that's why it's going to play off into a spin-off. I'm trying to be very selective about what I say here. But I do think that this whole arc with her brother is leading up to her spin-off. But I think they very, very much could do a Violet Danbury like within the same spin-off
season. Yeah.
And I think it would make sense because we need characters that we know and love. Like, you can't just have it focus on Violet unless you're going to focus on Violet and Portia and Araminta. Like, you need more than just one hook, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I like, my theory is, though, because of the arc of Penelope this season kind of losing the taste of Whistledown, and the notoriety, that, there's the belief that this is how she segues into writing the Wallflower. And like I said, I think her writing the Wallflower is going to be Violet's season, because Violet was also a Wallflower. So it's going to play those two against each other.
So jumping back in, this is where Lady D introduces Lord Anderson to Lady Keswick and asks if the two have met. Like, it's so funny that he tries to politely shut down the conversation. Hi, I'm her brother. All right, outies. And then
but this is where I think Lady Keswick understands she's a decoy and not a true like match, because
I don't think she does. I think she just barrels ahead. I think she does not care. And she's like, I want what I want.
She cut him off. Yeah, she cut him off. I was like, we're both. I'm a widow.
And we're both widows. Yeah. I'm a widow. You're a widow.
He's a widower.
Therefore our puzzle pieces match, right?
Yeah, but she just looked to me, she looked kind of schemy, which granted, she doesn't have her own children that we know of, but she's always with the schemy mamas in the ton, so she knows how the game is played. Mm-hmm. She sees his attention is elsewhere and she's trying to keep it on her. Yeah. But he is just, and Danbury's like, my work here is done.
She is so chuffed with herself, like try and get out of this now, brother. Like, it's such, like, these two are such, we talk about the Featheringtons, and we will talk about them later in this episode about, the barbs that go on between siblings, but like, she is really chuffed with herself. She knows exactly what she has done, and she's like, you're in her clutches now. Try and get out, little fly.
Yeah, sibling meanest thing.
Absolutely.
On the planet.
Like, she's literally chuckling as she walks away, like, I was like, you're such a witch. And then she goes and takes her rightful place guarding Violet from her brother. Like, just in case he manages to escape the spider, I have another web waiting.
Yep, I'm blocked.
Is like, I am the human form of a chastity belt. Try and get past me. Ching. So as Lady D starts chatting away with Violet, Eloise spots Cressida hiding in the outskirts of the church, and Cressida is motioning for Eloise to join her. And you can tell that this is just not going to go well for Cressida from the get-go, because Eloise already has this like peevish expression on her face. She is like huffy, like, if I have to deal with you. And Eloise is absolutely immediately on the offensive with Cressida. Like, I think she completely fails to see why Cressida, like, she actually seems genuinely pissy at Cressida for like pretending to be Lady Whistledown. And it's like, are you seriously failing to see why a woman or a girl, why a girl? Because let's be real, she is teetering on the boundary of still being a girl. Why a girl would go to any lengths possible to not marry someone who she did not want, for starters, and 2, marry someone who could literally at this point be her, like, if they each had kids when they were 25 years old, 25, he could be her great-great-grandfather at this point, in the Ton's time. Like, not just grandfather, but great-grandfather.
And that was the whole point of this season, is that Eloise is a good friend in the fact that she fiercely stands up for her friends when it's a vocal thing, but she struggles with action and empathy. Like she can't see something she's dealing with herself in another person. Even though she's going through the same thing, she can't put herself in their shoes, which is odd. Like most people gain empathy when they go through the same experience. Like you got that friend that'll tell you, I would have not done that if it were me. And then they end up in the same situation, like, oops, I'm eating humble pie.
I actually feel like, and I don't think they're going to do this because Anthony has already kind of grown from here and it would ruin his arc. But I actually kind of feel like Anthony needs to return from his travels and say, you know what? I found a gentleman for you to marry. And it's someone not as aged as him, but someone who, like a Burbrook kind of character that she absolutely has no interest in. She's like, no, I will not marry him, rah, rah, rah. And he's like, you know what? You are now on, the third time on the marriage mart. You've had no success. You're not going to make any because of your demeanor. This man's willing to marry you despite it, and kind of go through that whole Burbrook kind of, and that be her. This is when she runs away to then go to Sir Philip's to escape him, but also choose her own path.
I don't think we need Anthony to do that. I think Violet do that. Violet's going to be pushing men at her.
Violet would never
She's
ever.
got to turn down 3 suitors, remember, before she runs off.
So Violet would never ever force her daughter to marry someone that she did not love, because she would prefer her daughter be unwed than marry someone that she did not love or even like, for that matter. So I can never see.
Well, that's why I think she's allowed to have 3. I think Violet's going to keep putting men in front of her. They're going to propose. Eloise is going to say no. And then Eloise is going to be like, screw this life. I'm out. I'm running away to the flower man.
But what I'm saying is, I think that for Eloise in order for her to actually, one moment. Sorry for that brief intermittence. It was just Ezra's kindy.
Make sure you're recording.
It is. Ezra's kindy teacher misunderstood this morning when Stephen helped me drop off Ezra, and we said, be careful of Daddy's face, he's just had surgery. And the teacher only heard the he's just had surgery part and thought it was Ezra who had surgery, and was in a bit of a panic. No, but my point being was that I think that Eloise needs to be almost forced into a marriage with someone whom she does not choose or like or want, all of the above, in order for her to actually kind of understand both where Penelope and where Cressida are coming from. Because at the moment, like, do I think that what Cressida has done is right? No. Would I have done exactly the same if I was in her position? Probably. Like, I would have either run away. Like, she had very few options. And actually, of the options she did have, this was probably one of the best. Was it well thought out? No. Could it have been executed way better with more prep? Yes. Was she desperate? Yes. So I do not blame her for what she's done.
And this is the perfect time to bring up her costuming, because her costuming tells the whole story. She's wearing a bow, which, she's not normally a bow character, right? She has had some bows, but she looks like her arms are down through the center of the bows. So she looks like she's tied up, right? She looks like the damsel in distress on the railroad tracks in those old silent movies. But she's also very vulnerable because it's a low cut bodice.
Yes.
And she has a choker neck, which is again restraining, but it's got that perfect circle right over whatever that soft spot is at the base of your neck, I called, where they put the trach in, they slice there and give you a trach if something bad happens.
I think we just call it the nook of your neck.
The nook of your neck. So she has a perfect circle there. So with her whole chest being exposed, like, she's tied up, her hands are tied, literally, her arms are tied, but she's being very vulnerable here because she's scared. Like, she is the damsel in distress, and she's coming to the person that's the smartest person she knows. That's her hero. And she's trying to ask to be saved, but Eloise is done with that life.
Yeah, this whole interaction.
And Eloise is all tied up. She's got the blue bow around her neck, like you see nothing. She is all tied up and like she's cut off from the world right now.
Demure looking in this. I actually really like the bow and the way that her hair's sitting. Like, she looks very young again, very innocent and sweet, which is quite different. I would have almost, costuming department, I would have almost made her look a little bit more harsh, because That is very much the vibe that she is in at the moment. She's not yet fully resolved with Penelope. She's obviously ending things with Cressida, and for a long time there, it almost seems like it was almost a
But that's
romance.
Eloise's version. It's Eloise's version of being vulnerable. She feels naive. She feels like she trusts people that she shouldn't trust. So she's got herself completely covered up. Like she can just protect herself from the world. Do you know what I mean? Because she feels
Yeah.
like she doesn't have anybody. Benedict's running around with Tilly. He's hardly ever home. And Colin's got Penn now. Like, who does she have? And Cressida's proven to.
And even Francesca, because Francesca has kind of been her other, not
Yeah.
confidant this season, but she is there with her as her mum
Close
drags her to all
sister.
the
Yeah.
modistes and, to do
Yeah.
all the things that a debutante has to do. Like she's at least had a sister in arms, and now another soldier has fallen, and she's like left on the battlefield fighting off
Yeah.
the suitors herself.
Right.
So this is when Cressida asks Eloise for help in writing the column. And Cressida does it in the most naive but hopefully optimistic way. Like, well, you're so smart. I mean,
You love words.
you love words, at least reading them. Presumably that translates into writing them as well. And she feels very vulnerable and very like, Mummy, can you please help me with my homework?
Yeah.
Much to Eloise's dismay, though, because this is when Eloise reminds Cressida what was actually written about her last season and how it ruined her of such. And Eloise is
And
such a
she's
good
like
actor.
reminding her. And
Not
I think she was giving the obvious nudge, like, I know you're not Whistledown. She goes, that you wrote about me last year. Like,
I actually think the opposite because I think Eloise is such a good actor, and I don't mean
Claudia, you mean
Claudia,
Eloise.
I mean Eloise, because Eloise is such a good actor because it does seem that she is truly mad at Cressida for being whistled down when she knows otherwise. And it's
But I
quite
think that's what she was being obvious. And there's a look on her face when Cressida goes along with it. And she's like, oh, I know, I'm sorry. Like, but we can rectify that in our first issue with glowing,
yes.
words about your character. And Eloise kind of looks downfall. And I think at that point, she's like, oh, Penn realized I'd figured it out. And she still kept up the ruse for a little bit. And this is her come to Jesus. Like both of these women that are in their place of survival, like they have limited choices. They both made the same choice, and that was to not open up to her and say, yes, I'm Whistledown. And I mean, not that Cressida was going to say, yes, I'm Whistledown to Eloise. She knows she's not Whistledown, but she's kind of giving her that, I know you're not Whistledown kind of business, but she still keeps up with her lie instead of telling the truth, which Eloise is like, what do these people think of me? Because the look on her face is just the word on her face is the word on her face. The look on her face is so crestfallen. Like, here I am in the same conversation, different person, same conversation almost.
And it is ironic that it is the same conversation. And as you said, this is kind of her come to Jesus moment because of that. Because Eloise then uses it as an excuse to tell Cressida that she no longer wants to be friends. Like, isn't it funny that supposedly the same woman who wrote about her downfall, caused her downfall, is the very same person who then pretended to save her from that downfall by being her confidant through it, her support system through it. So it would have actually been super diabolical if she really were Lady Whistledown to ruin her and then be like, oh, hey, look, I'll be your friend. And that's how she gets her first friend.
But again, this is like Eloise isn't being mature here because instead of being truthful herself and saying, I know, she can't out Penn for sure, but she's like, I know you're not Whistledown and you're lying to me. And
I think that if she
this
had
is
said
a scheme and you used me, so I don't want to be friends with you because you used me. Instead, she's using this fake Whistledown business like to get out of the friendship.
I do believe that even Cressida is smart enough that if Eloise had said, I know that you are not Whistledown, Cressida would immediately put two and two together of why there was a big bust up between Penelope and Eloise. I think that even Cressida is smart enough to put...
I mean, it had to play out the way it did. This whole conversation had to play out the way it did. But absolutely. I think that Eloise was upset that Cressida didn't go, right, I'm not Whistledown. Like that's, she was trying to do it in a way without outing Penn.
I don't even think it's true. I think that whether or not she tells it to herself or not, I think that Eloise had already forgiven Penelope at this point and wanted to get back to good, and she believed the only way to do so was to drop Cressida, and this was the perfect excuse to be able to do so. But in her mind, she justifies it because she does have a little bit of that narc behavior where you know how you're in an argument with someone and they will find any little...
She twisted a situation to make it where what Cressida did was against her instead of being against Penn or whoever is the true Whistledown, so that she could get out of the friendship unscathed in a way. She could, pretend because feign injustice.
I mean, as two people who have dated narcissists, when you're in an argument with them,
I married one. Let's be real.
Yeah, but when you're in an argument with one and that you're in the right and they're in the wrong, like very, very absolutely no questions asked, like they're cheating on you or whatever. There is no situation in which they aren't in the wrong, but they will somehow find like, oh, well, you went through my phone, so I'm going to be mad at you for the next 5 days because how dare you break my privacy, or something of the like, where they will use anything to spin it back to being on you. And this is what this moment felt like for me with Eloise, is she wanted any excuse to throw the anger back at Cressida rather than taking accountability or even having any empathy for her in this moment to say, hey, you were put in an impossible situation and you chose an impossible choice. Was it a perfect choice? No. Do I believe that you're actually Whistledown? No, but I could help you write this article. Like, considering she just went to Penelope and said, let it die with Cressida, why would you not then allow Cressida to be it instead of baiting her into try to admit that she is not her?
Well, I think she just wanted her to admit she's not her to her, not to the world.
Yeah.
She still wants her to write it, but she was just surprised. Like, this is a person who's also supposed to be her friend. But if she wrote it well, who can't be honest with her.
But if she wrote it well, then it would then further protect Penelope and her family.
No, they needed it to be bad so that people would know it wasn't Cressida, but they wouldn't be looking for the real Whistledown. Like she wanted it to just be whatever. I think so too. But I wanted to point out, this is a tangent since we're at that wording. This is, if you remember from the last podcast, we were talking about Jess Brownell. It's like, I'm not talking bad about you this week that much. This is it. This is the time. So there's a line. She's like, why would you so many lines, seek my help? Why would you seek my help or whatever? And she goes, well, it's a lonely life living in secret. Yes. And that line hit me like a ton of bricks, because this is the reason the Whistledown story could be written the way it was. This is the reason she didn't understand Colin. And this is the reason she's focusing on Francesca, because she lived a life in secret for quite some time while she's, figured out her own self. But how am I going to tell people? And writers write the story they know. Their best writing is writing a story they know. Yes. So instead of focusing on the romance of Colin and Penelope, she focused on Whistledown and how living in secret is lonely and hard. And I think that takes away from Colin and their season. But I think instead of like coming at it like she sucks at writing or the writing sucks for season 3, she wrote what she knew. And there wasn't a lot of reining that in.
I think that on that note, though, it was also, as we've talked about with Eloise and her empathy, she kind of needs the feelings to come from other people and it to be reiterated to her from different perspectives in order for her to finally understand it. Because as we said, Veritism, very ADHD coded, where she needs it to come from, as I said, a lot of perspectives. And I think that this is a moment where she kind of gets another perspective of what Penelope was going through for the last few seasons, where she's saying, like I was completely secluded because I was practically invisible because of what Lady Whistledown wrote. And Cressida is saying Lady Whistledown is basically invisible, and that is what made her write this.
Yes.
And imagine how lonely that would be. And that finally gave Eloise the perspective of, well, Penelope did go through an entire season without me, and I am her only friend. So what was it like for Penelope being on the wall the entirety of a season?
And it also gives her some perspective into how Penelope could have been her friend first, but then became closer with Colin because Colin was out on the marriage mart in the year that Eloise was not, and they could have gotten closer then. I think she just needed to have her eyes opened, but I was talking about Jess Brownell a minute ago.
Yeah.
I think Jess Brownell wrote season 3 focusing on the living in secret, Francesca, Cressida as not Whistledown, and then Penn as actual Whistledown. And that put Colin and Penelope's relationship to the back burner, which sucks. But I mean, it was her first year being a showrunner, and she's still a writer, and she wanted to do her best work, and writers write the best when they write what they know.
Yeah.
So that's why we got what we got, I think.
Well, and kind of on that note, this is where we see Cressida's rejection sensitivity kick in. And it kicks in full force in the exact same way. And this was a mirror moment to season 2, where Eloise finds out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown and immediately uses the exact same words. It's like if a switch flipped in Cressida, where she's hearing her mum's words. No one is your friend. Everyone is out there to use what they can. And she's feeling it. Eloise used me. She did not have Penelope. So she used me as a stand-in. And now that I no longer serve my purpose, she is done with me and she is discarding me, just as she did with Penelope when she no longer served her purpose, and uses the exact same words about how Eloise is jealous of Lady Whistledown. Jealous that Eloise is just a talker and not a doer. And I do think that if this were true, that Cressida would never, not a TV series, that Cressida would never use those words because she doesn't actually have that perspective. We have that perspective as viewers because we've seen it all, but Cressida doesn't actually have the perspective that Eloise is only a talker and not a doer. And so I do think that was kind of a writing choice, but it was very much written specifically for the viewers to see that, hey, this is her come to Jesus moment of having the exact same words thrown in her face, that Eloise is jealous.
Yes. But in this case, she's able to admit she's jealous.
Yes.
She just knows who she's really jealous of, and it's not the woman who's standing in front of her.
Yes. But Eloise talks about how, yes, perhaps I am jealous. But she talks about how Whistledown hurt her and how invisible she felt. But let's think about this. Who did we see in season 2? Eloise interacting with her family and Penelope. She turned down all suitors. She rejected anyone that her mother brought near her. She did not talk to any debutantes because she thought that they were not below her, but dim-witted, essentially. They were vapid and they had nothing more in their minds. So why would I bother talking to them? So she wasn't popular before this Lady Whistledown article dropped. So how was it any different? What she is saying and what we are seeing really, really don't go hand in hand. And it's poor writing to me because life would have literally been absolutely no different from Eloise in season 3. Well, in between the season 2 and 3 to what it would have normally been, except for maybe people talking about her, whispering about her in public, maybe. But Eloise isn't necessarily the kind that would even care. It's not like debutantes stopped talking to her because she didn't want to talk to them in the first place.
Well, and she didn't say that Whistledown hurt her. She said Whistledown, it was quite a feat.
Made her invisible.
And no, she said doing Whistledown is quite a feat. She goes, and after having spent a season being practically invisible, I can understand how one might have written it. That's her acknowledging why Penn would have started Whistledown.
Yes.
And she is jealous because Whistledown is an empire. Penn created an empire. But I think her life from season 2 to season 3 is very different. And I think it doesn't have anything to do with Whistledown. She didn't speak to anybody in season 2 either, but she already had a friend who saw her for exactly who she was and loved her. She felt seen already. And in season 3, she didn't have that at all. She felt seen by no one. No one understood her. No one liked what she liked. Cressida tried to pretend to, but she didn't.
From season 2 to season 3, she went from only ever talking with Penelope to all of a sudden having a whole gaggle of debutantes looking up to her and thinking that she is the bee's knees, the funniest thing. But yes, that is very much her armor that she was showing them and not her true self. But it's not. They all liked her.
And that was okay for a time. But
she was literally more popular after the Lady Whistledown article came out than before.
And she didn't like the popularity. It worked for a while she was trying to distract herself from Penelope. But remember, at the very ball that they sought her out to take a turn around the room and they said, "You're such a great public speaker, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
You're so funny, whatever," is the very same ball that she went running after Penelope too.
Yeah.
She's in a situation just like Colin. I think this is kind of Colin's thing. The popularity's nice, but these people really don't get deep and they really don't want to talk about anything of substance. And that's what made, I mean, he's already loved Penelope, but that's what made choosing Penelope over popularity so desirable. And it's what made Eloise realize.
I'm gutted that we're not going to get that conversation between the Luke. This is a side tangent.
Well, and did you hear why?
Because he's too loved up.
Well, no, he said because he fell in love and married his childhood sweetheart, and you know, he didn't see it for so long. He's not that much of an expert.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that the excuse that the showrunner gave you for why they didn't write that scene at all? Because that makes me angry. Because I think he is so much better positioned to tell him no matter what, because he married Whistledown no matter what.
Because we had Chris Van Dusen back for part of the season, kind of co-show running, wasn't he?
No, because he created it, he is always an executive producer, so he comes out for premieres.
Because I thought originally they said that he was coming back to kind of co-produce the season.
I think that was in the ether, people hoping, and it became a gossip thing, like it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because he does come to the premiere things.
He did, yes.
The red carpet things he comes to.
I did notice that he looked incredibly anxious being there. Like, I think something big
He was
happened.
not comfortable.
He was not comfortable. And I can tell, like, a lot of them are uncomfortable because they're afraid of saying things. Because it was in an interview and not in the season, I believe it's okay to talk about this. I believe that we are getting a bath 2.0 scene where Banoffee have sex in a bath, because he said something about
two bodies of water.
Two bodies of water. And we know that the sex scene does not take place in the lake, because
isn't there a scene in the book?
Episode 3.
Isn't there a scene in the book where she like brings stuff in and he's in the bath?
I feel, yes. I do feel we have a sex scene in the bath in the book. I need to reread it. Really.
Yeah. I mean, we reread it last year?
Yeah. It was too long ago for me to I don't think I think I literally only reread up to the scene that I needed and no further, which I think was their first time.
I reread the whole thing. Yeah.
I think I reread up to the first time and that was it. Because we were doing the comparison to Penelope's first time, because it was basically a rewrite of
basically the same thing.
Yes. Okay, let's move on to the Featheringtons and their rejection sensitivity disorder. Because
let me make sure there's nothing else in my notes. Yeah. So basically why forgives Penn.
I think that this conversation needed to happen in order for the repair to happen with Penelope, but Eloise is a little bit stupid in thinking that
and the whole,
you can only have one friend at
the congratulations on your hard-earned success. That was her like, I would rather die. Yeah. Like that is the closure of this friendship, if it's closed, because their acquaintanceship started by her trying to secure her as a friend, and Eloise is like, I would rather die. So
I think that I don't think that Cressida is going to be returning this season, which is sad. I am very excited that Ollie Higginson, who is John the Footman, seems to be taking more of a starring role, and as is remind me of her name, the main lady of the house of Bridgerton House,
Mrs. Wilson.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilson. I was gonna say Varley, and I'm like, that's we did not see Ray. Have not seen Ray thus far.
I'm so upset about that.
I guess because it is such a small role that they probably did not have any contracts in place for them to have to return, but I do wish they at least recast her with someone else for the season, but I think it's because they're moving away from Featheringtons being such a main storyline that maybe they just didn't think it was necessary, because I guess there are only a certain amount of speaking roles that they give out.
But when we add up all of the characters that have a beef to grind with the Bridgerton universe, Ray is now at the top because she left Featherington House to take a promotion to be the housekeeper, the main housekeeper at the Bridgerton townhouse, only for them to move back, and now she has no job.
I think it would have been hilarious if they kept her at the Love Shack and we see her being like, please, Footman John, please wrangle in this boy. I cannot handle being here anymore. Please take me back to the Featherington. The
Well, I
maid
mean,
wars is actually
she only had one line in season 3. Really, she was just acted with her face.
yeah.
So if
Okay.
she would have just looked at Footman John like,
save me. Oh, save me from this benediction.
Maybe that's why she quit. Maybe she stayed there and that became Benedict's bachelor lodging.
She's like, I can't handle this much.
She's like, I am out. She's like, I thought Colin was cheeky for showing up at midnight, but damn. Now I wonder what Colin did with her, made her run back to the room like she did.
Okay, so speaking of rejection sensitivity, Prudence is really taking all of her hurt feelings out on her sister this season, telling her that she must be having a girl, as it is said that girls steal all of one's beauty. You bitch!
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
She's trying so hard. Well, and that's the kind of thing that Portia would praise in the past, right?
Well, at least
Portia loved
attention.
them being. Portia loved that Prudence was snarky. I think Portia saw that part of herself in Prudence, and that's why she kind of like was close with her and praised that part of her.
Yes.
Because that part of her would suit her throughout her adult life, because Portia's had a rough adult life. So she sees it as strength. And I love that she doesn't even acknowledge it. And she brings up what a cute couple they are because she's parenting by not even acknowledging the behavior.
And that's the thing, is I don't even know if she actually heard it or not, if she was so sidetracked, like, but the competitiveness between those two siblings, and like at first you can think, oh, well, Philippa isn't competitive, but actually she is, because we saw the whole, no, I'm going to be the mama, and she went out and like researched all new people to replace all the housekeepers in the house, and I want the house to look like this. Like, she is competitive, and she does actually snark back at her sisters, but it's usually aimed at Penelope because she was an easier target than Prudence. But now they don't
gang up on Penelope.
But now they don't have Penelope as a target, and now they have to be each other's targets, where they were previously allies through the enemy of my enemy is my ally kind of situation. But now it's
I think Philippa just went along for the ride. I don't think she is as snarky as Prudence is.
She isn't. She doesn't even get that it's a snark until the second blow.
Yeah, right. But I wanted to point out their outfits here, again, costuming, because Portia is wearing burnt orange, which is not her usual color. She has very little green. And I think this is where we're seeing her. She truly is seeing that Colin loves Penelope and that Penelope got a love match. And so it's her outward appearance is reflecting that. Like there's not so much Featherington green. It's almost like she feels like she finally succeeded with one of her daughters in helping her get what she didn't have. And then the two girls both are wearing very harsh, like almost like battle dresses, in my opinion. Like if you were cosplaying having to go to a ball but go to battle, they're both wearing Prudence looks like armor, or like bricks, like little green bricks. It reminds me of the mermaidy dress at the end for the butterfly ball. Yeah. But it's more brick on brick looking. So it does look like scales or
brick on brick. Are you describing their IQs?
No, like, like they call it subway tiling in a bathroom, I know but it's that thing. Yeah. And Philippa, her shoulders look like her dress is so feminine, except the shoulders of it look like barbed wire.
She's like, the
black pattern.
I'm about to go tackle a Kel's brother.
Yeah, the black pattern on it looks like barbed wire, like it's wrapped in barbed wire. And these girls are just going after each other in their costumes.
They really kind of toe the line. Like if you said what they say to like anyone else, like it'd be abysmal. Like,
oh yeah, you don't talk like that to people.
You could not talk like that in front of anyone else. Like I would even say that talking like that in public where other people can overhear is also probably really frowned upon. But because they're siblings, like you get away saying...
we even saw Lady Danbury and Lord Anderson did what they did, but they were completely nice. Like the words that came out of their mouth were still nice. They were just acting not nice in a way. They were being immature. These two girls are being immature and being very uncouth.
Yes, which is, what the Ton's whole issue with the family is in general is the
Their
fact that they do
vulgarity, yeah.
these things. And you can tell that like Prudence is literally only doing it to get Portia's attention, but she's
Yep.
literally ignoring her daughter, and instead makes commentary on how charming a couple Penelope and Colin make. And it's like, I don't truly know whether Portia was choosing to ignore her daughter for being mean, not rewarding behavior, or whether she really is just so enthralled with the fact that Colin is going to be her savior that now her
I
narc
don't think
attention
she's
is.
thinking that yet. In this moment is the one true moment. And that's why I think she's so dressed unlike herself. This is the one true moment where she can look at her daughter and say, you are love. You got a love match, right? Like she didn't think it was possible.
Yeah. I just think it's hilarious that Portia is somewhat now chaperoning her daughter. For the first time in her life, she is like, hey, I actually need to be aware of where Penelope is. I never thought that she'd be a viable love match. And now that she is for someone, oh, I actually have to watch her because the Ton will notice if I'm not watching her. So I actually have eyes on her now that her daughter is already pregnant out of wedlock.
Yeah, up in a church.
Like,
and I
lady,
just want to point out, there was
I know
no lightning strike.
it is technically possible. You can technically release eggs from two different fallopian tubes at once and technically get pregnant twice, but like I don't think she's getting any more pregnant than she already is.
Well, and honestly, if you go back into the church scene coming from that angle, if you go back into the church scene when Penelope and Colin look at each other and he grabs his collar, like I wonder if that was his like, I think we're pregnant, that was a close call kind of situation. Like somebody could have just outed us for already having done the deed and nobody did. And she's focused on like she's Penelope and what somebody knows she's whistled out.
No carriage, like, no carriage footmen are being like, oh, I know what's going on here.
Excuse me. Yeah. Like he's totally focused on
I've got some horses who have seen some things. I'd like reparations for the trauma that my horses have gone through. I'd like reparations for the cleaning costs of my Uber driver, please.
Right. I need to clean out my ears.
$800 soilage fee. What was the soilage? I didn't vomit. Well, there were other fluids left behind.
There was a wet seat. And I just want to say Finch is the best.
I was about to say Finchy pulls his best Forrest Gump impression and tells Philippa that he thinks she looks as charming as a chocolate box. I love these two. You know what,
Philippa,
you're
my chocolate box.
Life is like a chocolate box. You never know what IQ you're gonna get. These two just remind me of like the lovebirds, like just sitting in a tree, happily ignorant together. Like, are they going to be out there writing books together? Probably not, but they're just in blissful ignorance together.
I do think we might get some writing stuff because Luke in the one interview said that Colin and Penelope are, that in the same one he said they're that sickeningly sweet couple that are always like all over each other.
Yes.
He goes, but in the end, they still have the same interests, and we see that this season. So I think they are going to be writing. I hope. I
hope too. Okay. Moving on. Lastly, to Lady D and Violet talking about Francesca.
I feel like up until Penelope walks up and gets hugged, I feel like this is all extraneous and it didn't need to be there. We could have had a longer sex scene at the end because this was just informational. This was just informational to press the story and to give some kind of urgency, like don't talk to the queen kind of business, to make it seem like instead of going, when you're ready to talk to the queen, then you guys can get married, which is how that story should have gone. It put more pressure that made Violet take a pause because she even says, like, Lady Danbury says, oh, is it because you still have doubts, or the queen will see you still have doubts? She goes, oh, I don't doubt it if Francesca's happy. Like, she's ready to accept this couple. But with what Danbury says about the queen may not be in favor of it and all this stuff adds a sense of drama that seems forced. And like, they could have cut it out. They could have still showed her hugging Penelope. They could have still shown Francesca looking upset about that. And we wouldn't have needed this whole 15 to 30 seconds that we could have added somewhere. That's just my opinion. Not that it's poor writing. I don't think it's poor writing. I think it's miscellaneous.
There
extra.
editing in this because again, another scene where it goes between Violet and Lady Danbury to Francesca and John. As it cuts between them, the screen literally cuts black again. Like there is now that I'm not paying attention because I
Looking
always
for
pay
it.
attention, but
Yeah.
now that I'm looking for it, there's actually a lot of scenes where it does.
Yeah, they're in the same vicinity. There's no need to cut to black screen.
No, so it just seems like poor editing, to be honest, on their behalf.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so Lady D and Violet says that Violet will be back for the next reading of the banns, and Violet immediately turns to look at Fran and John. And I kind of had two thoughts about this. One was it because she is chaperoning, so she just needs to keep an eye on them. But I think that the part that makes her turn to look at them is the trigger of the reading of the banns, because obviously she has a lot of anxiety about the Queen. And so she turns to look at Fran and John to kind of ponder whether or not their names will be also read on the reading of the banns next week. I think this is her like, oh, like I
Do
know
I
I need
do
to
it?
talk.
Don't I? Do I? Don't
I know I need
Yeah.
to go talk to the Queen, but I really don't want to. Can someone please save me from this? I'm actually a little bit surprised that she doesn't, because like here, Lady Danbury is kind of agreeing with her that yes, it could go really badly. I'm actually a little bit surprised that she's not like, could you come with us and help facilitate this to go a little bit better? You understand the bond of their relationship, even if I don't understand it myself. Like, because even though Lady D kind of mocks the sitting in silence thing, like, I don't think she mocks it with maliciousness. I think she mocks it with appreciation of like,
Yeah,
like
that's a new one. Like she's never heard that before.
I couldn't sit in silence, but
Yeah.
if that's how they bond, good for you. I'm not going to yuck someone else's yum. Like she's like,
Yeah,
well,
exactly. I'm not going to yuck someone else's yum.
Like that seems her vibe.
Like some people like to be tied up. That would not be me. I'm claustrophobic, but I'm not going to like, if somebody else likes doing that, I'm not going to talk down about that. It's just something that's not my preference. And that's totally the vibe Lady D gave.
And because I love that when Violet is confiding in Lady D that they wish for the Queen to speak, sorry, they wish for her to speak to the Queen on their behalf. I love that Lady Danbury, in the most 1800s Danbury kind of way possible, agrees that it's best for those two not to go talk to the Queen themselves because two tisms do not make for a happy Queen. Like she's like, oh no, like those two together.
No, because she wants a spectacle and they're literally, and John Glazer said it, not me. They have no imagination. I just said Francesca was basically white Wonder Bread, but it's the same thing.
The Queen is saying, hey, why should you two be married? And John's like, hey, did you notice the architecture in this room is quite spectacular?
This portico, yeah. I want to marry Francesca because she lets me talk about architecture, and the Queen will be like, yawn.
Denied. Off to the gallows with you two. Because yeah, Lady D asks if they still sit in prolonged silence. Like she absolutely seems like she is impressed by their ability. Like I am sure that there are plenty of men whom she desperately wishes would learn to sit in silence instead of yarning on. This is where Violet says that she has grown to respect their match, not like it, but respect it. And she states
much
that
like I respect the choices of people. I don't like it, but I'll respect.
Yeah, and like I do feel for Violet here because Lady D does confirm Violet's fears that if the Queen presses too hard and sees that Violet is not 100% behind the match, that she could very much deny it. And that what I think that's what the truth behind her reservations is that because she is not 100%, she can say to her daughter and she can say to whoever she wants, yes, I'm 100% behind my daughter's choice. But when she's actually pressed, because it's not a true belief, she's afraid that other people will see it and deny her. And then she's got to deal with Francesca hating her for her mum not coming through for her.
Yes, but again, this is a forced storyline because even though Daphne chose Simon, the Queen sent the prince said, she don't want me. They came before her. They spoke their piece. Like they asked for permission, but they really didn't have to. And we see Anthony and Kate be able to get married without.
Never saw Anthony and Kate go to the Queen. Can you imagine how that conversation would have gone?
Edwina did a solid to the queen, and that's what everybody is saying is her forgiving Kate and Antony, but they still didn't have to go to the queen. Nobody else in the ton has to go to the queen and get her permission. I think it's utterly ridiculous to make this storyline this big when it didn't need to be.
Yes. Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
queen obviously doesn't care, and that's why she says in Joining of Hands, I already know what your choice is, and I'm already over it. I don't care. I've moved on.
I do appreciate that Violet says her doubts do not matter if Francesca is happy, and I do very much believe that that is true. Now, I mean, we could say that she acts to the contrary with Benedict, given the speech in episode 1 of season 4, which we won't go into it all, but like I think this goes along with one of Benedict's New Year's resolutions that he has to admit that his mother sometimes is always right.
Because that's the line she said.
Yeah.
That's the line she said that was right, was you just haven't met the right.
Yes. And I don't think that's true at all, because we've seen all the promo for season 4 now, not all of it, but like a good majority of it. And they are very much in love. Like Francesca seems very much infatuated with John, very in deep wedded bliss. You can tell there is sexual tension between the two.
Oh, that's why this is playing this, because in the books, remember, Julia Quinn said she could not give Violet a second chance because she made Violet and Edmund's love so epic,
yes,
that she just couldn't bring herself to give her another suitor, but they're giving her another suitor. So they're making Violet have the mind of Julia Quinn. Like, I had this epic love. Can I possibly find that again? And that's why she questions John, because she doesn't feel like John is the epic love for Francesca. But in the end, it's Francesca's coupling. I bet you her and Lord Anderson don't get together until Francesca's season, because watching Francesca be able to love somebody twice, have the same kind of love twice, is going to be what tells her, I can do this again.
I cannot wait for the new movie, because it kind of goes along with this, Eternity, where the girl goes to the afterlife and both her current husband and her first love are both there, and she's got to like figure out who to spend eternity with, because she's got both her loves to choose from.
Time we love them.
I know, but I'm just talking about
it's
the
heaven.
movie.
Come
like,
on now.
I think that movie is going to come out very well timed with the storyline of moving on and second love kind of thing. I'm very excited to see it. It looks like I'm going to cry a bunch, but it looks really cute. But anyway, so they change the conversation when Penelope and Colin approach, and Violet welcomes Penelope with open arms, which you can tell makes Colin so happy. Like, I love
Colin has now seen what Penelope's grown up in, so he loves watching Penelope be loved.
Like, it feels like, I'm so happy to welcome you home. This is where you have always belonged. This is where you will always belong. You are home here with us. And that was what, like, I mean, there's a lot to read into a hug, but that's what it felt like.
No. It's perfect, because Colin is an inner monologue guy. And remember when he went in the book to propose, to say he wanted her hand, and in his inner monologue, he's like, I can't wait to get Penelope away from these people.
Yes.
This is him. This is his gift to her. Like, I'll give you my family. My family will love you like you should be loved. I've now seen what your family has done. I'm going to give you my family. But it's also like a coming,
not to be shady, but I understand that sentiment well.
But I also see it as, this was his moment. This was the moment he always wanted. Like, he thought he was grown up in season 1. He thought he had made a choice, and he wanted his family to accept the choice, and they didn't. And this is what he wanted. So now he knows it's right. Like, he knows this is what's meant for him.
This is what it's meant to look like.
It feels so good. Yes.
Yes. It feels right. And everything's falling
into place. And he would have
place.
Lost out on this if they would have just accepted Rena.
And that's the thing. Like, sometimes your loved ones get with people and you're like, I don't love it, but I can accept it. Like, it's not what I wanted for you, but if you're happy, sure. But like, a lot of the time you can see that they're not happy and they just are living their life, and you'll just be there to support them when they're apart, but it's their life to choose. But then
and when your sibling, when they marry more than one, like, you kind of stop getting as invested down the road.
Was it you? Someone asked me recently, and they said, out of the weddings that you have been to, can you tell who was going to or is going to get divorced from their wedding day?
That was not
and
me.
I'm like, yes, I can see a lot of the relationships that had major cracks before, but there has been one or two that I've been like genuinely surprised by the
I
splitting.
mean, there's some that are super red flags beginning, right?
Yes.
And there's some that I thought they looked like they really vibed together and whatever, but in the end they didn't make it.
I mean, there are some things that happen in life that just not you can't come back from, but that just change you on such a fundamental level that it's
Well,
hard
and I
to
think
survive.
that's the thing. I think at the moment the relationship worked, and I think timing wise the relationship is meant to be for whatever reason, like a lesson or something you need at the time, right? And it ends when it's supposed to end because it's run its course, or
Because someone has a brain aneurysm.
One person grew and the other person didn't grow.
Someone has a brain
Somebody
aneurysm
has an
and dies.
aneurysm. Somebody dies.
But I do hate the sentiment that like Francesca had to go through John to get to Michael, and it's like no. Like neither one was her ultimate love. They were equally, one was like her ultimate sexual partner, yeah, but like it doesn't mean just because they had a better sexual connection that her connection with John was any lesser.
The other trope to her book that people forget is
sexual awakening.
No, right person, wrong time.
Yeah.
Because she didn't even meet Michael until she was already engaged to John. And Michael could have done what Gregory did in his book, and he could have ended things and said and declared his feelings. And believed.
I've seen so many Reddit threads of, am I the asshole because I married my wife, but then when I met her sister, I was like deeply in love with her, or brother, or whatever. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
No, Michael made the choice to not do that to John.
Yes.
And that's why Michael went to India.
Yes. But like
that's
even
what
before,
it is. It's
he had always loved Francesca, and he kept her at arm's length emotionally because
he loved her, but he kept her at arm's length because she was already with John. She met John first.
Yes.
They
and
didn't
let's be
meet
real,
each
people.
other together.
There
was no real love triangle.
If John had not died, she would have never, ever gotten with Michael. Never. Right. And he would have just had to find a way to move on.
And Michael would have never gotten the courage because he would have never done that to John because they were so close.
Yes. He would have just, I think he would have just stayed a bachelor for life, to be honest. Maybe settled, but like probably not.
No.
But yeah, let's go back to them. So in the background, you can see that Francesca is watching this whole interaction and feeling disappointed that her mother does not give the same level of support or connection to John. Now, two parts to that.
Or enthusiasm, yeah.
Two parts to that. For starters, Violet has known and loved Penelope for the majority of her life. For a good portion of her life, shall we say. Like,
right.
Penelope is someone that she has known and supported, and she's already been a mother to her. And this is just the official, I am legally now one of your mothers. Like this is her dream casting. Like she did not act the same way with even Simon, whom she desperately adored for her daughter. It was a fantastic match. It was a love match, and he was an advantageous match. But she did not act.
She never hugged him or anything.
No, she did not act with the same level of enthusiasm. Granted, Francesca wasn't there for most of that, so she didn't see that. But I think the relationship bond between a mother and a daughter-in-law is completely different to a mother and a son-in-law.
Right. But granted, from Francesca's point of view, her coming back at the beginning of this season, she was watching how Violet was with Kate, and Violet treated Kate like a...
But that's because she was also in, I need to teach you how to be the matriarch of this family mode.
But them walking arm in arm and stuff, that's very loving and intimate. That was not necessary. They could have walked side by side without that. And I think Francesca saw them have an intimate, loving relationship of mother and daughter-in-law that she wants, that she sees happening with Penelope also, and she's confused why it's not happening with John.
Yeah.
And I think that,
again, though,
you make a good point that son-in-law is different than daughter-in-law.
Yes.
Very much. But for Francesca, she just wants her mother to show enthusiasm, not necessarily, you don't have to hug the man, but but like show enthusiasm, and she's not even getting enthusiasm.
But I mean, Violet is also quite, I mean, she does have her introverted moments, but she is probably on the more extroverted side compared to Francesca and John. And you know,
Yes.
sometimes you can like someone perfectly well, but you just don't quite know how to crack that briefcase open. It takes a little bit longer than with other people. Like her and Penelope, they've already had an established relationship. Like they have things that they can talk with and bond over. What is she going to talk with John about? Like there's not a whole bunch. And maybe she does like John, but she just doesn't quite know how to crack that briefcase. Like my
Right.
cousins have had partners that it has taken me years to kind of get used to them. And it's not like I didn't like them. I just needed to find our footing with like how we can bond, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I love that John is just, he is so unaware that his fiance, his secret tunnel, that his secret fiance is going through it emotionally right now. It is droning on about architecture. I'm like, all right, pop off, John. You're so
Or
cute.
he does feel it, and he's trying to distract
No,
her in a way that he knows.
I think he's
I think
so
he's
unaware.
oblivious too.
He's
I
oblivious.
think he's unaware of the situation, but I think he does pay attention to his wife. I think he does, feel like she's tense, and I think he's trying to draw her out, like talk about something, but he chose something he's interested in, not her.
He's adorable.
Which is a very autistic thing to do.
Can we actually talk about John for a moment? Because having now watched Victor on the red carpet, I actually think that he is one of the best actors on Bridgerton, because I would never.
Two different personalities.
I would never. I didn't even realize that. Like, I mean, I did, but I didn't. Like, if you gave me 10 people in a lineup, I would not say that that is John. Like, his demeanor is so incredibly different in real life that I could barely even tell that it was John, because this man goes from quiet, shy, introverted, tismy, softly spoken, gentle soul. I don't know how else to describe him other than a gentle soul, to suave, calming, extroverted, cheeky.
Cheeky,
the little mo, like very outgoing, like just a complete 360. Like a lot of the times, I think that you kind of for like an actor to truly play a role well, a lot of the times you can almost see that the character is at least somewhat similar to the personality in real life. But this character is a complete 360. Like you could not be any different.
Yeah, because Colin and Luke Newton are very similar. Eloise and Claudia Jessie are very similar. And I think Hyacinth and Florence Hunt are very similar.
Like it's a lot easier to play what you know rather than complete change. So like
I think
the
only other person that I think is completely, well, I don't think Anthony is very much like Johnny Bailey.
No, he's not. He's not at all.
And I really don't think Benedict and Thompson are all that.
I feel like they are. Not
Benedict
in the
is
sexual...
so out there. He's so out there.
I think he's a little bit more like Colin, to be honest.
Yeah. Then Luke Thompson is so introverted and shy. I just don't think he and
not
Benedict
shy. I would say private.
Yeah.
Johnny Bailey is... I
think shy because watching him and Yurin Ha interview, like she has to draw him out sometimes. Like he's this isn't his cup of tea.
No.
Oh, and by the way, he's in a movie. He got I just saw it. He was announced for a movie. So Luke Thompson's doing a movie.
I loved Yurin Ha's kind of raw moments talking about how she kind of has that imposter syndrome and like she kept questioning herself, like, how can I seriously be the lead role in the bigger series on Netflix? Like a pinch me moment, like I don't belong here. And Luke had to keep kind of propping her up and be like, no, you belong to be here. That's the right one. You belong here. Like you have earned your place here. You are the right person. You are the right choice. And I love that he supported her through those fears. I thought it was really sweet.
Elsinore, the name of the
Okay. Like I do get what people were saying, where it does seem like almost like mentorshipy, but I think that's purely for the fact that Benedict Luke Thompson has been on the Bridgerton set for 4 seasons, 8 years now. Because I think they filmed in 2018 originally.
I think they filmed in summer.
I don't know when that means. Yeah. July 2019. So why did it come out so soon after filming? Not an entire year. All right.
Because it was done by a different person. This is a new showrunner, brand new. She had not done show running before. I mean, I can give her that benefit of the doubt. It's a big show to try and produce. And then the second one literally came out a year and 3 months after.
All right. For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there. Continue on next episode where we will be covering Penelope as a lady. Actually, it'd be a lot of Whistledown coded content next week. Both Penelope burning the Whistledown articles, Penelope and Portia doing wedding planning and like diving into that, and then Penelope and Madame Delacroix, which I think is a really, really like I think those scenes go together hand in hand because she is now struggling with those two sides of herself. And can I be Whistledown and Penelope Bridgerton?
I think these scenes together are where Penelope is really trying to, much like Colin had to see that both were in the same person. I don't think Penelope has ever truly seen that she is Whistledown, that they are the same, and it takes her almost losing to have to come to that realization. And so I think it's good that those end up those scenes.
Yeah. So if you have anything in particular you would like us to cover or any Bridgerton knowledge you would like to share, please head to our Facebook page, The Ladies Bridgerton. And if you are enjoying our podcast, please remember to click like, subscribe, and leave comments wherever you are listening. Yours truly. What? Nope. Sorry.
Once again. Wow.
I don't think we're ever going to get that outro right.
No, it's like how me and Smog end conversations because, you know, we don't say I love you or anything. So it's like all this awkward, well, have fun doing whatever.
Yes, I love you.
Once again, thank you for listening to the musings of two mad women.
Yours truly, I am Blue, Tosh the Kiwi.
And Lady Patty.
Bye, Purple.